Beyond her daily task of attending Lacumber Junior High, 8th grader Sarah Aria is on a mission to make her route to school safer, especially at Mission and Gillespie streets.
The kid was like halfway across the street, and the car just zoomed past behind it, and I saw that. I was like, yeah, it was a close call.
Mission is just very busy, and Gillespie is a racetrack also. And we just feel like this intersection is so dangerous because there isn't a crosswalk, there's not a flasher. The cars, it is a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, but you know, nobody does it.
Design changes at the Mission and Gillespie intersection are just part of Santa Barbara's Westside Neighborhood Transportation Plan that was presented to the public at the October 24th Transportation and Circulation Committee meeting. The city has held 2 public workshops to get to this phase of the plan. The city is unveiling bicycle, pedestrian, and lighting improvements to increase mobility options and improve safety for residents who walk, bike, and drive.
Just for pedestrian and bicycle collisions alone, for a 10-year average, there was about 38 bicycle and pedestrian injuries along this corridor.
Red, yellow, and green on this heat map shows where all collisions on the West Side and Lower West neighborhoods happened during a 5-year period. The city has adopted a Vision Zero policy to eliminate serious and fatal traffic-related collisions by 2030. This overlay of purple and red lines and dots are sites where proposed pedestrian improvements, such as curb extensions, refuge islands, and putting down new sidewalks where they don't exist today.
Just getting across the street, as if you want to go to Bonnet Park, you want to go en route to Lacumber Junior High, Harding Elementary, that it is very difficult to cross and limited visibility at key intersection crossings.
That's line of sight visibility problems as well as poor lighting issues. The yellow line along Carrillo Street represents lighting upgrades already under construction that extends from Bath Street to nearly the crest of Carrillo Hill. The orange line along San Andreas Street is proposed pedestrian lighting, which runs from Mission Street to West Canna Perdido.
And this will greatly benefit all users. Again, it's not just for pedestrians, but also for cyclists, drivers. Everyone's supposed to benefit from these improvements.
Fellow Coast staff member and Westside resident Kim Stanley says many parents here don't let their children walk or bike alone to nearby Harding Elementary School. A city proposal to transform Gillespie Street and neighboring San Pasqual Street into bike boulevards would fulfill 2 critical needs.
A bike boulevard would definitely slow down traffic and give it a sense of this street is for bicyclists and for cars.
Gillespie Street would be redesigned as a priority route for bicyclists to safely navigate and still allow residents to come and go in their cars. The bike boulevard would also improve connectivity with other bike routes throughout the city and beyond.
We want to try to fill in those gaps so that parents can feel like their kids are getting to school the whole route in a safe way.
This Westside Bike Improvement Overlay shows Gillespie and San Pasqual Streets, both proposed bike boulevards, in the color lime green. The bike boulevard would extend toward the beach on one end and along Gillespie all the way to Portesuelo and Lacumber Junior High on the other end. The orange line running perpendicular along Mitchell-Terrena and mostly Sola Streets is the downtown bike boulevard that's already been funded and approved.
We asked, well, where's your favorite places in the neighborhood to bike in the first place? And Gillespie kept coming up as the favored street in the West Side to navigate the neighborhood to go to schools or just down to the beach.
Originally, Chino Street was identified as the location for the bicycle boulevard. However, both a detailed traffic study and community feedback pointed towards Gillespie and San Pasqual Streets as the preferred Westside bike routes.
And what we were also doing at the same time with staff was just analyzing the traffic patterns for cars. And what we noticed that there was in the morning from Carrillo to Chino on the way to Mitchell-Terrena, was much higher traffic volumes than we had originally anticipated, and there was a concern that if we keep the bicycle boulevard on Chino, that we would then have to move the traffic pattern elsewhere in the neighborhood.
The larger implications of being able to reach Goleta or UCSB from Santa Barbara without ever having to be in a high stress traffic situation where you're in conflict with vehicles.
Once the Las Positas and Modoc Roads multi-use path is constructed, the city anticipates a higher demand of bicyclists wanting to connect to La Cumbre Junior High and the Westside along Modoc between Mission and Las Positas. Residents have also expressed concern of navigating along and across Modoc Road given vehicular speeds. In spring of 2019, the city was awarded a grant to investigate the concept of a multi-use path along this section of Modoc Road. The city is in the process of getting this road right-of-way surveyed, and then engineers will draw up a multi-use path concept that the city will present to residents in early 2020 for feedback.
Modoc is seen as a street where there's higher traffic volumes and more of a need because of those speeds to separate pedestrians and cyclists from the roadway.
Construction begins next year on the $16 million Las Positas Modoc multi-use path. It will extend for 2.5 miles from Modoc to Hendry's Beach.
It's been a long-term goal of the city to be able to make this connection. It's going to provide regional connections along within the bike system, all the way out from UCSB and Goleta Beach, providing access through the Modoc and Las Positas corridors down to City College off of Cliff Drive. And then it also provides local connections for all the neighborhoods that currently don't have access for biking or walking to the beach.
For bike advocates like Ed France, it will fill a critical link in the California Coastal Trail and provide access for more users.
This multi-use path is going to have physical separation, and it's going to allow younger people, older people, people who want to jog, people who want to walk their dog. It's multi-use for a reason.
France says the multi-use path is another way that Santa Barbara city officials invest in safe, alternative options to get around.
Increasingly, we're recognizing that relying on driving to get us everywhere we may need or want to go is unhealthy for us and for the planet and for the community. The multi-use paths that are going to connect through the city of Santa Barbara and more broadly through the South Coast are a legacy that this generation is leaving for the next few generations.
The city has been very successful at obtaining active transportation program grants from the state. I think they have the highest funding per capita, so that speaks volumes.
The next steps are for the draft plan to go before the Neighborhood Advisory Council on November 11th and to the City Council in early December.